right, guys, welcome back. Boots come in pairs. Episode 50 for us. A lot of content, exciting. We've been doing this for 2.5 years, and it's just fun to do this kind of content. We were going to have a special guest on today to celebrate 50th, Tim Sestarik, Mr. Sir. Kids are sick. We get that. Life happens. That's okay. First thing on the docket for tonight, we're going to talk about the White Sox and their potential sale. Jerry Reinsdorf came out in response to, I would think, John Shenning's comments and chants of sell the team. However, he is not intending to sell the team till at least 2029, at the earliest, at the latest 2035, which is a long time from now. That's 10 years more of Jerry. For perspective, he will be 98 years old in 2035. So this is not a sell the team. This is I'm going to die and someone's going to inherit it. Fortunately for White Sox fans, the family that is going to inherit it, it seems to be, is the Ishbias, Justin Ishbia being the main cog in that. But that's a good family. That's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But I can't be really excited about something that's 10 years down the road. That's a long ways away from now. Eli will be probably 12 years old by then. What's your initial take for White Sox fans? I can't terribly be excited for them because, again, that's just so far away.
Well, inherit would be nice, but Jerry and his family are going to make a lot of money off of this. But initial take could not be going, the franchise, I should say, could not be going to a better family than the Ishbias. They are Chicago people. They are big advocates for the city and big advocates for sports. They have heavy ties to sports. Justin Ishbia and his brother Matt are owners of the Suns and Mercury. And they are also big investors at Michigan State University to their athletics. Matt was a former college basketball player. He played for Coach Izzo and was on the 2000 national championship team. When I was at Michigan State for a baseball game, the Spartan baseball stadium is called Jeff Ishbia Field. Jeff Ishbia being their father. So yeah, they're very tied into Michigan State, very tied into Chicago as well, and very tied into athletics, what they've done with the Mercury and the Suns as far as making games affordable, making food affordable. They're kind of trend setting in a way, making the fan experience better, and getting the opportunity to purchase a team in Major League Baseball in their hometown has got to be very special. I know that they had gone after the Twins a little bit, had potentially tried to get a stake in that, and that ended up not working out. So instead, they're staying right in their own backyard in Chicago. The thing that's tough about this whole thing is, like you were saying, like it's going to be about a decade until they gain full control. I did a little bit of digging when it comes to the deal itself. It looks like they can start contributing financially to the team in 2025, 2026. So that's when they can start like putting their money and gaining a little bit of ownership. And then they outlined another thing. So there's another thing that said they have an option to obtain controlling interest from 2029 to 2033. And then after 2034, there's an option to acquire the controlling interest. So, I mean, again, they're going to have to spend so much money. The Reinsdorf family is going to make so much money. And you've talked about it before in the past. Like, Jerry bought this team in 1981 for a bargain. I forget what the figure was. He's going to make out like a bandit.
Yep.
And for what? He has owned this franchise for over 40 years, and they have made the playoffs 7 times during that 40-year span of him as ownership, as an owner. How I don't know how you can be proud about anything. He gets all nostalgic and all that stuff. Like, he has been the worst thing for that franchise. And even the Bulls too. I mean, They got lucky with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and all those guys and the coaches they had, but ter- excuse me, terrible owner.
Jerry likes owning a baseball team. I don't know if there's any other way to say why he does what he does. He likes owning a baseball team, walking into his box and being the guy. One thing that was noted with the Ishbia money, like because they're going to be able to contribute financially, apparently the White Sox are in debt a bunch of money. That's what they said. Their stadium isn't paid off, so that's not an option currently to move them. I don't know how you're broke. How are you broke if you don't spend any money? I don't get that. Another fear for some people was because they do have some Nashville ties. They own controlling stake in the Nashville women's soccer team. So they're like, oh, are they going to move them to Nashville? I think that can be put to rest because Justin Ishbia is building an $80 million home in Wilmette. So he has interest in staying. I think they see the potential market of Chicago. Sounds like the Chicago Fire are building on the potential spot that the White Sox were looking at in the Loop. I forgot what area it was, but it would have been a smaller, more quaint city.
Right by the river.
Yeah. So that spot's going to the Chicago Fire, it sounds like. So that's not an option. I think they're going to stay put. They can do something out of that ballpark. They can build that out.
It's not a bad ballpark.
It's not a bad ballpark.
Like it really is. I mean, it's in a weird area.
It lacks character and charm and appeal,
right?
Because of the way it was designed. But
right, it doesn't have a lot of charm.
Yeah. Someone said the other day.
It's super clean. The food is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good place to watch a game.
So the only thing that's bad about aesthetically is there's, again, no character to it. And the comp I heard the other day, which is kind of funny. So the White Sox built that stadium in 92, right? 91, 92. Because they went from Old Comiskey to across the street. Well, Camden Yards was built in 1993. And that was when baseball started getting more creative with their designs. But the White Sox kind of got, I don't want to say the short end of the stick, but that's just where the design for baseball stadiums was in 1990, when they were planning that. So, but it's crazy to think that a park 2 years later was built that is one of the premier ballparks in the country.
Right.
But
Well, it's kind of like that. It's like, what do they call them? They call them like track homes, like the homes that they put in the subdivisions that they just slap together.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is. Like there's no charm, there's no features, there's no that. And that's really one of the coolest things about baseball is that every stadium is different and you don't necessarily have to stick to specific dimensions. Like basketball and hockey, the rink is the same, the court's the same. For football, the field is the same, all the same dimensions. But for baseball, there's probably minimums that you can have. Like the Red Sox, you can hit a 308-foot home run around the pesky pole, but it's like the dimensions can change. You can have a high wall in one, like in left field, like the Red Sox have. You can have water fountains in center field, like they have at Kauffman. You can do all the. You have ivy covered brick walls at Wrigley. Like you could do
you could put a stupid hill in center field that serves no purpose that people just get injured on. Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think the biggest thing for White Sox fans that you can get excited about is this is like the Mets model for ownership. This is hobby owner. This is I don't care. You're no longer going to be talked about as the team that's never signed a $100 million player. Because they're going to come in and they're going to infuse a ton of cash in this thing. It may not be the first year, but a group like this doesn't buy and then continues the Jerry Reinsdorf trend. They may have to wait till he passes away and is no longer part of the thing, but that's going to be their model. They did it with the Suns. They went out and bought, they got Kevin Durant. They put this superstar roster together, went to the finals, lost to the Bucks. But you know what? That's the goal, right? You just got to put the best talent on the field.
Right. And also get the best coaching and talent evaluators. And when you're dumping money into a team, you're dumping money into its infrastructure as well. Like this is how we get a healthy organization. This is how we develop players at a high level and draft well and evaluate well. I can't imagine that the people who are in charge now are still going to be in charge when the Ishbias take over ultimately. But you got to do stuff like you have a chip like Garrett Crochet and you essentially, I don't even want to say they fleeced the Red Sox, but they got four very good prospects, and two of them are already playing on the big league
Yeah.
roster, and one of them is shooting up the charts in the minor leagues. So, I mean, you just got to do stuff like that. Like they have very, very good young pitchers coming up. Um, I don't know, man. Like you got to be able to do something with these guys, and then continue to draft well. But I mean, it
Well,
starts from the absolute top. If you have an owner
yeah.
who believes, an owner who can spend and wants to spend and wants to succeed, your organization's already got a
What
leg
it
up.
what it does too is even if you don't have organizational health, because you don't always have that, right? Sometimes you're using those prospects, sometimes they don't pan out.
Right.
But what it has when you have an owner like this is it raises your floor. All
Yeah.
of a sudden, you're not bottom feeder garbage like the Rockies are and the White Sox are, and you elevate your floor because you're willing to pay for a team essentially. So, not that I care like deeply about the White Sox, but one thing it does do when you have an owner like that is spending, 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 willing to do whatever they want. The Cubs have gotten away for with a long time with the White Sox not spending anything and them being a joke. Well, they're not going to be a joke anymore. And
Right.
Tom Ricketts might have to open up his wallet just to stay competitive in the city of Chicago.
Right.
Because if the White Sox are putting a $500 million payroll team out on the field, you better believe there's going to be pressure on the other side of town to be like, hey, if they can do it, Tom, you need
Right.
to step up to the plate. So whether that's through drafting, whether it's through the process, he's got a cap too, but I think it's going to raise his cap even more
Yeah.
because I don't see a salary
Agreed.
cap coming anytime soon.
It's not going to. No. No.
Nope. Um,
Absolutely not.
well, moving on to the Cubs, we can focus on them a little more. Not the best road trip. They went 4-5, lost two series, which is okay. You can lose series, didn't get swept.
I think they went 5-4 actually.
5-4. I heard 4-5 today. But when you lose two series, you're gonna lose. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they didn't
They
sweep
lost.
anybody.
Well, yeah. Well, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Tigers and
Yep.
2 out of 3 to the Phillies, and I think they won the other games, right?
I didn't. I don't think they swept, but either way, not an
Not
ideal road,
great.
not an
No,
ideal road trip, but
they
it's
came they
okay.
came up winning 7 straight series, and they
Yes.
played those two teams, and they lost 2 series in a row.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they are doing all this though with essentially one starting pitcher. We were
Yeah.
alluding to before we started. Jameson Tyone has looked good. Is he an all-star? We will see. But after Tyone, Cade Horton, a guy you thought would just make a couple starts, maybe go back to Iowa, is now a piece you can't afford to send back to Iowa.
Right.
Ben Brown has been atrocious.
Yeah. Matt
He's
Boyd's been good.
Boyd's been good. So okay, so we have
Yeah.
two and a half starters now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ben Brown has not been good. If there was anyone, and I'm not bagging on Ben Brown, it just if there was anybody for the Cubs to bring up, I think this speaks to how injured they are and how much depth they currently have in Iowa after Cade Horton. If there was anybody who was pitching well at all, Ben Brown would have been sent back down just to get a reset because
Right.
he's letting up a lot of he let up another 6 runs last night. It's
Yeah.
just it's a lot. He's got electric stuff. He'll be a good pitcher. He is just not pitching well right
Right.
now. But you have to throw him because who else do you have? I really don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
who else is coming.
Right, right, and like you see him speaking to Ben Brown a little bit. You see the flashes of electricity. I mean, he goes pitch for pitch with the best pitcher on the planet, Tarek Skubal in the Tiger series. They just couldn't do enough against Skubal, which not a lot of people can.
No.
And then you see him play against a pretty much like a really an underperforming Phillies lineup recently. Just gets shelled.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like you were saying, I mean, really have two starting pitchers who are doing really well. The other three you can't rely on. I don't know how many innings we're going to get out of Horton this year. He hasn't pitched
That's the
an
biggest thing.
excess at all in his major league career, and you want to protect that asset. He's very important to your future. Colin Ray is he's had some good spots, but he's not the guy. And yeah, Benny's not pitching that great. You will get Shota back very soon. It sounds like he's going to be making a start this month, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, have to go out and add some starting pitching, add some arms, at least two. Um, they have the lineup defensively and offensively. This is the lineup. They're not going to improve anywhere. All the guys who are playing, who are starting now, they should be playing. They should be starting. This is the team you need to roll with lineup wise. The bullpen has been stellar,
Yes.
and this is like
Well,
8 guys deep. We're talking Keller, Thielbar, Palencia, Pomeranz, Flexen. Ryan Presley has had 13 straight scoreless outings, and I was looking at Presley's stats today. He just got his ERA under 4 again. He's had 27 appearances, and he's only given up runs in 3 of them. So he's been pitching a lot better than we thought. He's been a little bit more, I guess. I mean, it's been a little scary. That's why we're calling him Ryan Stressley for a long time.
well, you know
But
what? I
really, the
think
Giants the Giants blow up where Craig just like fed him to the wolves. Like, we don't have anyone else. We're losing this game. You're just going to keep pitching and getting shelled. That's kind of what tanked him.
I
But
I don't want to say it. I don't think he's a closer anymore.
he's not,
They took him out of the
and they don't
closer
need
role in
it. They don't
Houston.
need him to be.
We're essentially though, and I'm not. I think Ryan Presley was a better option to start the year than Hector Neris was the year before.
Yes, yes,
But it is almost a repeat of let's take the the Astros setup guy and try
right,
and make him our closer, and it's like it just
right.
didn't work. But yeah, they've been. We talk about all the time how bullpens are so volatile. I mean, they just DFA'd Tyson Miller, who was a really
Right.
good piece for them last year, but like, there's no
Right.
room for Tyson Miller. There's no
There's
room
not.
for a guy like that.
No, and
So
then I think the thing that kind of changed the path for Miller was Ryan Brazier coming back and pitching well, because he's
yeah,
another guy who's pitching really well. And then yeah, adding Pomeranz and Flexen, like essentially like getting them off, dusting them off whatever
Flexen
bench they were on. Flexen's been great.
Flexen still
Him and
has a
Pomeranz.
0 ERA.
So does Pomeranz.
Pomeranz has
Both of
0.
them.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's crazy. I think the
Yeah,
first
but
time they
they're
let up a run, it's gonna feel like they let up 30 because it's just like they
right.
haven't done it yet.
But this is like what we're talking about when we were talking at the beginning of the season. We were talking about a strong bullpen and not being sure about what they had and what they were going to get. They're 8 guys deep, and all these guys, even Genesis Cabrera, who they just signed too, like he's
Yeah,
pitching really well. All those guys I mentioned, all of them have ERAs aside from Presley, and Presley will get his ERA down there. But all those guys are 3.5 or less, and most of them are less.
the only thing though I will continue to pound my fists on the table about is you need a big name closer.
Yeah,
You're not going to go far in the playoffs, and that's another point with this team. We'll get to that in a minute. But you're not going to go far in the playoffs with an inexperienced bullpen. They can get you through the regular season,
yeah,
but you need some guys back there that can shut the door.
right.
Some of the best names right now, closing games right now, Kenley Jansen and Aroldis Chapman. Old reliables, probably available for a bag of balls in the offseason, but those names just they get the job done.
Right.
Another point.
Kelly Jansen would look good in Cubby Blue.
And he was available.
Mm-hmm.
Both Red
He
Sox
was.
too. Both could have been Red Sox. That would have been a loaded bullpen, but at least
Right.
name wise. But
Right.
um,
Well,
Jed,
Jansen's in L.A.
yeah. Jed was talking this week though too, and he acknowledged that he's very pleased with the lineup construction. He's very pleased with how they
Mm-hmm.
performed. He goes, something can happen. I think he's just alluding to injury. He goes, something can happen between now and the trade deadline that makes you want to acquire a piece. He goes, but he's well aware that they need to go after starting pitching. Like that
Mm-hmm.
is very well stated. It's the elephant in the room. We know
Yeah.
they need pitchers. He knows, but he's coming out and actually saying it, and he's being very
Yes.
candid about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's something else to consider, though, and this is a deeper topic for the Cubs. Are they? And we'll get into how that relates to the names that are available or not available. Are they on the cusp of winning a World Series? Is this team this year on the cusp of winning the World Series? The Cubs have not made the playoffs in 4 years. They made it during the shortened COVID season and lost to the Marlins in that little play-in, whatever that was. That's not making the playoffs. They have not played competitive playoff baseball in 4+ seasons. Are they going to jump straight to winning a World Series?
It's a good question. Um, and I would say I would not be too quick to write them off from doing that, because just because they don't have guys who've done it with this team doesn't mean they don't have guys who've done it, haven't done it at
It's
all.
true. That is true.
We have to remember the pedigree of some of these guys. Kyle Tucker, Dansby Swanson, those guys have been there. Those guys have done that. Um, Ian Happ has been on playoff teams. Um, Carson Kelly's played at a high level. A lot of them have played at a high level, and even the Matt Boyd was right in the thick of it last year.
Yeah.
Some of their relievers also. I mean, they're not battle tested as a team, but I think that they have the skill set, and the other thing is that they play really good defense, which it helps a lot. But I think they just have the skill set, and they have the guys and the athletes too, to get the job done. The other thing is that they like to run, and that is huge in the playoffs. I don't put it past anybody to lay down a bunt or do the things you need to do offensively. It'll really come down to, do they have enough pitching? That's the biggest thing, and I think addressing the arms. And traditionally, at least the last couple of years, it's been throw whoever we need to throw to get through to win one game at a time. You're not necessarily like a few years ago. I say like 12 years ago when we were in the playoffs and at a baseball game where you have the starting pitchers going 8 innings. Like, that's not really happening much anymore. But you got to have the arms. You need to have people who can chuck some innings.
Yeah. Well, what they need to build and what they should be building for, though, is multiple consecutive playoff runs with a deep roster. That's what you need to build for. So you don't want just a rental for 1 year. I mean, it's fine to piece it together. I understand each year is its own thing, but you need to be building on that and have multiple bites at the apple. Because 2016 happened for the Cubs, but they were right there in 2015. They were right there the following year. Like, they were competitive for 3-4 years. They just only won one time. They only got there one time. So you don't know when that time's going to be. But I think regardless of what they do, they need to build this team for multiple year playoff run, and hopefully you get a World Series out of that. That's all you can really ask for. Get in the dance.
Right. And it's also about getting hot at the right time too. That's another thing that's really big.
Yep.
I think, honestly, like, getting there is going to be the biggest thing. But I think if they don't win at least one series with this team, especially not knowing if you're going to sign Kyle Tucker to a long-term deal, this could be their only shot with this team. And they might never get a chance to have another superstar again that's not coming from within the organization. So I think if you're at a spot like at the end of August where it's like it's a lock, obviously by then you would have made some moves. You're gonna be playing to try to win this year. And the thing is, looking at their team, they're pretty young or in their prime all the way around. I don't necessarily look at their top prospects as guys who are going to be difference makers in the organization. So I think if you part with a couple guys for an experienced arm, and the name that I've been thinking about quite a bit, because it doesn't seem like the East is getting any easier, and it doesn't seem like this team is going to catch fire enough. I'm thinking Chris Sale could be a really good piece if you dealt like an Owen Casey and a Kevin Alcantara, who are never going to play here. They're not going to. Especially if you sign Tucker, where are they going to play? They're not going to play over Hap. They're not going to play over PCA. They're not going to DH over Seiya. They're not going to do any of that. So if you can get Chris Sale, and he's healthy, and he's pitching well, he also has playoff experience. He's also won a World Series. He's been right there. He's ideal. He's 36, but he's still pumping it, and he's still winning games, and he's still competitive.
Won the Cy Young
that could be, and he loves the city of Chicago. So I mean, it could be a really intriguing move.
Mm-hmm.
The other guy I think about, which I don't really like to count the Diamondbacks out until they're really out. They're really banged up right now. But if they are in a spot where they are fading and they just want to get some talent, even Merrill Kelly could be really, really nice. Um,
Yeah.
he's a little bit older as well. I think he's 35 or 36 too, but
Yep.
still pitching really well, has a lot of experience. He was probably the Diamondbacks' best pitcher down the stretch in the World Series a couple years ago. So he could be another guy.
Yeah.
Or if you just need guys to fill out the bullpen or fill out the rotation, I mean, Baltimore's trash. Zach Alfin's a nice piece. Um, I don't know if Seattle is going to be parting with any starting pitchers. They
Well,
might.
let's get into that because that's a good segue here. I have another Cubs thought, but that can go into the end. I have this fun things, right? Um, if you look at it today, because that's what Jed was kind of talking about. He goes, right now, he goes, you can kind of identify a couple teams that are would be selling or would be willing to part with some guys, especially some older guys. Um, but especially with the expanded wild card, how many teams are actually in that bubble? So
Right.
I have the bottom of the standings and kind of the cutoff line because there are again there's three wild card spots. So the teams that are I would consider sellers based on where they're at in the standings right now. The White Sox are 13 games back of the wild card in the AL. The Athletics are 11, and the Orioles are 8 games back, which isn't really that much. I mean,
No.
a team like the Orioles, are they giving up their roster right now, 8 games back wild card spot, or do they believe in the talent they have on their roster? I think they believe still. So they're probably not selling. So you're looking at the Athletics and the White Sox in the AL. In the NL, you have the Rockies at 25 and a half games back of the wild card. The Marlins are 12. The Pirates are 11. And the Braves are 9. Do you think the Braves are giving up right now at 9 games back of wild card, getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back, and believing in their roster that has essentially won them a World Series minus Ronald Acuna?
Right.
Granted, this isn't the same team, but they believe they have a good roster, right? They came into the year, they're getting
Mm-hmm.
Strider back, they're doing all these things. So that leaves you with the Rockies, the Marlins, and the Pirates, who would sell you
Right.
today. I'm saying who would sell you today, hey, you want Andrew Heaney pitching tonight. Granted, I doubt the Pirates would trade the Cubs, but if you want Andrew Heaney, here,
I mean,
here you
why
go.
why would they not trade to the Cubs? I mean, I feel like they don't care. So
They
I think
should.
they're trying to get assets. I mean,
Yeah.
Andrew Heaney. I mean, Mitch Keller could be one too. Mitch Keller's a nice younger pitcher. Bailey
Yeah.
Falter's pitching really well. I mean, really, the only guy on their roster who's pitching wise who's untouchable is Skeens. I mean, they'd probably give you
Well,
anybody else.
in 5 years, he might be available.
Right.
But yeah, so the names you're talking, Chris Sale, obviously he's been on everybody's radar. Sandy Alcantara has started to pitch better. However,
Mm-hmm.
are we going to give up top prospects for him? I
No, I
think
wouldn't
two
give
weeks ago
anybody
you
up for
could have got
him.
him for a bag of balls. I think that he's starting to pitch a little bit better. He might cost you a couple prospects. Um,
Yeah, I don't
Aaron
want him.
Savali for Milwaukee today. They wished him a
Mm-hmm.
happy birthday, and they also told him he's going to the bullpen. And then an hour and a half later, Ken Rosenthal reports Aaron Savali requested a trade
Yeah.
because
Oh
it
my
was legit.
gosh.
It was Brewers wish Aaron Savali happy birthday on their Instagram or whatever, and then yeah, an hour and a half later, Ken Rosenthal same platform says Aaron Savali would like a trade. So he's available because he doesn't want to go to the bullpen. Tomo Seguno is another name for Baltimore. He's got a low ERA.
Yep.
He just got roughed up by the Athletics, but he's 35 years old. So those are the guys you got to look at. It's mid 30s that don't have a long future. But I
Who's
think
35?
his name is Tomoguchi Seguno. I call him Tomo.
He's
He's
35?
35.
No
He
way.
is.
I thought he was like 26.
I was doing my research today. It said 35.
Wow.
Yeah, aging well. But I think as you get close now, again, we are 45 days away from the trade deadline.
Yeah.
So 40 games away. Teams are in a different spot. I mean, I think if things start to turn for the Brewers in the wrong direction, they're going to trade not Eric Hosmer. They're going to trade Reese Hoskins. They're going to
Yeah.
trade some of their pieces. They're going to trade some guys they're not going to be able to keep. Do the Cardinals become seller? Who knows? Who knows who's going to be selling who? But the way it stands right now, I agree with Jed. There's not a ton out there that's available today.
Right.
But as we get closer, I mean, again, I think that list expands to maybe the bottom 5 teams on each side. But again, with the expanded wild card, and you have teams like Baltimore and Atlanta up there, I mean, I don't think they're selling you right now because they believe in their team.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. And like a team like Atlanta with their roster constructed the way it is, I mean, can't really see them giving up. But at the same time, it's like they don't have any pitching. Like Sale's the only guy. Strider's not pitching great. Schwellenbeck's pitching great, but they lost AJ Smith-Shawver. Their pitching's not in a great spot. Their first, Strider, I think we'll get it back, but he's not pitching well.
Yeah.
Sale and Schwellenbeck are really the only guys pitching well. Their bullpen's a disaster.
Yeah. The Diamondbacks were a team that I did hear as well that could be seller. I mean, you just lose what's his name? Corbin Burns. You just lose Corbin Burns to another guy to an arm injury. I mean, they have a lot of injuries stacking up for Arizona, but they're also 2 years removed from a World Series appearance. So
right.
I don't know. I can't imagine them selling this early.
Right.
But you get close to a deadline, they may pack it in on this season in particular.
Yeah, it's just tough with that lineup they have. I mean, they have so many good players in that lineup, and a lot of guys who are playing really well. I mean, but they're also in the West, and that's tough too.
Yeah, but the Mariners have a lot of pitching, but
they do.
They're right in it. They're one game under 500, falling behind the Angels of all teams. But the West is wide open. The Rangers are another team. Could a guy like Nate Eovaldi be available if they start to slow down a bit?
I doubt Eovaldi will be available because he just got signed to like a 3-year deal. I think the guys who would be available for the Rangers would be Tyler Mahle and maybe Patrick Corbin. But I was like, Eovaldi is pitching spectacular. But with them just signing him to a 3-year deal, I think it would be very, 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 very odd if they moved him.
And we joked about Patrick Corbin at the beginning of the year. Now he's actually a viable option. I don't know if I would trade much for him because he was, again,
I don't think I would.
But, it was tough, though. You know, coming out of camp, the Cubs had, 8 starters. And like, how are they going to fit them all in? And now it's like, there's nobody there.
Nobody there.
Well, speaking of new arrivals, there's been quite a few top prospects. A couple out of Red Sox camp. You touched on the White Sox been promoting. The Brewers promoted today as well. So the biggest one in baseball being Roman Anthony because he is the top prospect. Hit a double the other day. Hasn't been killing the ball, but he looked a little bored down there in Worcester, Massachusetts. So he was ready for his call up. Marcelo Meyer hit his first couple homers last night as well. Red Sox promoting. Any thoughts on Roman Anthony? We've been able to watch him the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, his hit. I think after he hit a 497-foot home run, they're like, "Yeah, we need to move him. Yeah. They need some spark." But incredibly happy for him. He's only 21 years old, which is wild. They said he wasn't even alive yet when the Red Sox won their World Series in 2004.
That's crazy.
Which is nuts.
The only thing I don't like about Roman Anthony is he wasn't on the 40-man roster, and to make room for him, they had to DFA Ryan Noda,
who was killing the ball. He was killing the ball,
and he will again, hang in there, man. He will either re-sign with the Woo Sox, or someone will pick him up because he was crushing it. So
he was crushing the ball.
So
yes,
I think it'll just be a temporary, couple days off for him, and he'll be back in action. But that was the downside of having, again, 20-year-old mega prospect not on your 40-man roster.
Right, but I mean, getting back to Roman and Marcelo and all those guys, I mean, it's just a blast getting to watch them play. It's awesome that they're up. The thing that I don't like is that chorus talking about, well, we have some really talented right-handed hitters, and when there's like a tougher lefty, like we're going to sit them on the bench. Don't sit them on the
Play the
bench.
kids.
You brought them up to play.
Yep.
Your team is mediocre.
Yep.
You need some excitement. You need people to perform. If a 22-year-old and a 21-year-old give you your best opportunity, you need to play them every day. So, but yeah, it's again exciting. Number 1 overall prospect, number 8 overall prospect. But I did see something very, very, and I agreed 100%. Former catcher Eric Kratz. He has a podcast that he does. I believe he does it with AJ Przinsky. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it called like Foul Territory or something? Yep. But they're great. But Kratz kind of summed it up, and he's like, "Do not expect Roman Anthony to be the savior. No. Don't expect any single player to be the savior. You need your whole lineup to do well. You need your whole lineup to step up and play well. You can't put the entire future of your franchise and really, like, your season is not riding on the success of a 21-year-old prospect. You need Jarren Duran to get back to that all-star level. You need Devers on all cylinders. You need Bregman to come back and cream the ball. You need all your guys. You need your starting pitching staff to learn how to pitch again. You got to figure that stuff out. I mean,
well, their bullpen can't get out either. So I would say, the offense is not the problem.
No.
The problem is you have no pitching, and that's
pitching.
Really the problem. But yeah, you should. Let the kids play. I would. We could see it now. I think the Red Sox had high aspirations coming into this year. Not a World Series team right now.
No,
not a playoff team right now. They're not a playoff team.
They're not a playoff team. It's like, just win some games. It's the Yankees division until it's not, but I don't know. I just don't know how the fan base can continue to deal with the mediocrity. I don't know why we continue to watch. It's just so rough being a Red Sox fan. Yeah, and the thing is, it's such an electric place to be. And you have some of the best fans in the world, and they will rise with you and fall with you, but they'd rather rise. But yeah, it's great. I hope they continue to have success. I hope that they help the team succeed as well, because if they do, this could be a very exciting team to watch. They have a lot of nice players, and they're 2 of them also. But yeah, they're not the only team that has young guys who've been promoted. Brewers promoted their top pitching prospect, Jacob Mizorowski, tonight.
Yep.
Last I checked, he was firing a shutout.
Five innings pitched. He's out of the game. 5 innings pitched, no hits, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 81.
And pitches. He's in line for the win right now because they're up 6-0.
So the one person I was talking to today about him coming up, and it's like, is it gonna translate? He said the poise will be the biggest thing. Well, yeah, the no hits great, 5 Ks great, 5 innings great, 4 walks not great.
Not great.
But if you can turn those 4 walks into strikeouts, again, no hits. So
right, and hitting triple digits on the radar gun multiple times, that also is quite nice.
Triple digits +3. So
+3, +1, +2, +3. So yeah, that's great to see. Obviously, Cade Horton coming up has been pretty fun to watch. He's a fun young guy. Kyle Teal, who was the number 3 guy in that Red Sox trio, he also got promoted by the White Sox. As I was mentioning earlier, in that Crochet trade, the White Sox got a haul of young prospects, 2 of which are playing in the big leagues right now, Chase Mydroth at short and Teal behind the plate. Teal has already shown off his cannon and his defense and his hitting ability. And then Braden Montgomery, who was their number 1 overall pick in last year's draft, is shooting up the charts.
As we say, looking right now, Kyle Teal, not in the lineup tonight. Why?
Right. Why isn't he in the lineup? Exactly.
He was in yesterday, not in today. DH him, right. I don't care. Get him as many at-bats as possible.
Yes, he's a big ticket, and he's going to be a cornerstone in your franchise. He's an excellent player. You didn't evaluate him. You didn't develop him. He got developed by an organization that knows how to develop prospects. So you're getting a guy like that. He'll be a great piece. hopefully for the Ishbias sooner rather than later. The Royals promoting Jack Caglione.
Yep.
He's fitting in nicely, DHing, playing some first. Really nothing left for him to learn at the AAA level. He was killing the ball, but great addition with all those young talent they have over there. A's promoted Nick Kurtz as well several weeks ago. He's already had an injury stint and come back. Those are and Caglione and Kurtz. Those are two guys who are drafted in the top 10 in last year's draft, and they're already up. That's crazy.
The Athletic. This is a side tangent. The Athletics are such a putrid organization. They still are doing the same nonsense, and now the players are just complaining about how poor the conditions are in Sacramento, and they don't have a bathroom in the dugout or near the dugout. They have to go to center field. Like it's just
it's a joke.
I
feel bad. I feel bad for those guys.
There's only so many of these franchises. That's an ownership that needs to sell as well. It just doesn't make any sense, and
no,
they do not deserve. So actually, I heard a reason why MLB is actually not happy that Oakland's going to Vegas, because it ruins a potential expansion spot for them. And when they have an expansion team, you get expansion fees and it generates more money. So Vegas, and that's also why they don't want the White Sox moving, because Nashville is a potential expansion city.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think they did fine. They fined the Athletics money for getting out of Oakland. So, just suck. They suck. And you know what? Jacob Wilson's fun to watch, but
Larry B, Brett Rooker, Denzel Clark
with the pride of the catch of the season. They have some guys, but just
Tyler Soderstrom. I mean, they got some players. They got some good players.
They've also lost like 11 of their last 13.
Yeah, and then more than that, heading back down the line. I think they were what did I say? They were like 6 games over, and then they were like 7-30 in the last. We'll see. Again, I feel worse for those guys, the players, than I do for anybody, especially the young guys who are trying to make the name for themselves and win over the fans and all that stuff. I mean, they have to. They're mired in mediocrity.
Yep, even worse. All right. Well, who's catching your eye on the field?
Oh, I have a hitter. He's on a team that is rising. They're not quite there yet, but they will be, because they have a lot of young talent. Really have enjoyed watching James Wood. James Wood has already surpassed all of his stats from last year in fewer games. Looks incredibly confident everywhere, and I don't know, I don't get to watch him incredibly often because I don't want to watch a Nationals game when I can watch other games. But seeing them against the Cubs and then just seeing highlights on social media, the great thing about social media, which is kind of the demise of the Sports Center top plays and all that stuff, but we get to see a lot more players do a lot more cool things, a lot more quick than we used to before. But you get to see guys who you wouldn't normally get to see. You get to see the incredible talent that they have, and the incredible things they could do on the diamond. James Wood, though, in that Cubs series, he had a game where he went 0 for 4, and there was not one ball that was hit under 95 miles an hour. Most of them were hit north of 100 miles an hour, just bullets everywhere, just hit them right at people. But his bat control and his path is so nice, such a smooth swing for being a big guy. He's 6'7", 230. Covers a lot of ground in the outfield. Someone hit one in the gap. I think it might have been Seiya or Happ or somebody. And James Wood, a couple strides, and he was there, cut the ball off, fired it in. It was going to be an easy double, but he got there and made the play.
Well, he was part of the return for Juan Soto. So that's why we were talking about that earlier this year.
It just keeps on giving. I mean, you have Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, James Wood, and I think there's one more player in that deal for Soto. You got you stacked yourself. You set yourself up for the future. Good for the Nationals GM for getting that deal done. But yeah, James Wood, 22 years old. He's not turning 23 until September,
And
but a blast to watch.
he's outplaying super prospect Dylan Cruz.
He is.
And he could be their all-star. I mean, that's, that's another thing too you're talking about.
He's gonna. I mean, I think he could be an all-star on his own.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays left field.
Yeah.
Who's a better left fielder in the game right now than him?
Not Ian Happ.
But Ian Happ's playing well now.
Sure, that's fine.
Him and Bush are really the only guys who are producing during this month.
Yeah. Well, Seiya hit a homer tonight as well, but Seiya and PCA. But yeah, they were saying too, should they get rid of that every team needs an all-star thing, especially at this level. But I agree, he would be if he's in left field. I don't see who's better than him talent wise.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of just the way he swings of like a young Josh Bell.
Yeah.
And now they're both in the same spot. Obviously, Josh Bell's power never really developed. I feel like he had all the ability, just it didn't. It's like Jason Hayward. He's 6'5" and built like a tank, but couldn't hit for power. It was just one of those mysterious things.
Yeah.
One of my fun watches lately has been it's not been a player. It's been player related. But last week, Rob Manfred introduced that they were going to push forward with the ABS strike zone for 2026 and looking to implement it. So, Since that, I have noticed a real sensitivity around these umpires. Craig Counsell was tossed out in back-to-back games. Nico Horner was tossed out for saying 4 words.
You're having a bad day or something like that?
Oh, that is exactly what he said. He turned around and said, "You're having a really bad day." And the umpire just threw him out. And he was like, "What?" And after the game, he's like, "This is one of the few times I could tell you exactly what I said to the umpire." And they
not
caught
get fined for it.
And he said it to the reporters, and they caught it on the hot mic on the field. It's exactly what he said. And Alex Cora got thrown out for the same thing. And it's like they're getting so sensitive, but they're also so wrong.
They're so wrong.
That has been a fun watch lately, is watching these umpires losing their sense of self-worth, I guess, if you want to call it that. The umpiring in the Tiger series was bad. I don't know how else to put it. They didn't have a bad day. They had a bad series, and you just can't have that. I don't know. There's just a lot of plays, and it takes. I mean, Nico Horner's only been ejected twice in his career. Once last year, and this was one of the softest tosses I've ever seen. I don't know if it's just because he turned to the umpire, but he addressed it, and he's like, I don't know, whatever. What do you do? He goes, I didn't want to get tossed in that moment, obviously, because I didn't swear at him. I didn't say anything triggering, but he did. I just said he's having a bad day. So
did it CB Buckner? CB Buckner was highlighted not long ago because somebody threw an extra warm up pitch, and it was Cal Raleigh. He got into it with Cal Raleigh.
Well, I think it wasn't. It might have been CB Buckner or it was Lance Diaz.
No, it was CB Buckner.
No, on something else.
Okay.
It was like the furthest pitched outside that was called a strike so far this year on a non-swing was either Lance Diaz or CB Buckner, and it was 6.9 inches off the plate. And they're like, they need to bring that video and the last couple days over to Manfred's office and be like, look, here's our case. Okay, sign it now. Let's just do it. So that's something fun to look forward to next year.
I can't wait to see a lot of tapping of the helmet.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna eliminate every notion to argue, because it's like, oh, you think you're right? Put your money where your mouth is and challenge it then. You don't even have to talk to the umpire. Just that's it. And you're the pitcher. You threw a strike, and you're standing at it like Walker Buehler got tossed the other day, because he threw a pitch right down the middle, and he's like, why wasn't that a strike? And he goes, be better. And then they toss. That's all he said, is be better. You could read his mouth. They just want some accountability, and it's just this has been a fun thing to see. And so the Denzel Clark thing was cool, and for an on the field thing, but just seeing the umpires lose their cool, especially because they know their day is coming when they can't be this bad. And
Right.
they didn't like it during spring training, I could tell. So,
No.
and you just don't need
No.
it. You don't need it.
No, it's coming. It's coming. I mean, we're all held accountable for the things that we do at our job. So now it's time for umpires to be held accountable
Yep.
in every single way.
If anyone watches tennis, it's flawless. Just
It's
get
flawless.
that technology.
Yes.
They don't even let them challenge anymore. They just review it. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. There's no more umpires on the court. They
Yeah.
took them all off. They go, nope, we're just going to do the Hawkeye thing. There's going to be one person at the chair umpire. They're going to have a screen, and they're just going to in or out. Okay. Okay. You don't get John McEnroe running up and down screaming anymore at the chair umpire.
No.
Because there's nothing to argue.
Nothing to argue. It's there.
It's there.
Black and white.
Yep.
And actually color. It's in color.
Color. Yeah. I mean, the French Open, they have clay. So, like, you can see where the ball bounced, too. So that was like a second thing. But it's like, you can't have that. But it's pretty clear. I don't know. They're like, oh, there's still some flaws. Well, you know what? Work out the kinks.
Right.
Tennis did it.
Figure it out.
But
Yep.
oh well. Well, Cubs are up 3-2 in the going into the ninth. However, caveat here: Daniel Palencia just pitched the eighth.
Oh.
So could we see Ryan Presley pitch the ninth inning? Drama for next time.
Oh,
we could have a
man.
new closer. I don't know unless he's gonna pitch 2 innings here. No idea. But high
I
leverage.
mean, maybe they're gonna pitch Pomeranz.
Pomeranz will be fine. Maybe Tim will finally get his wish.
Right.
And then in 2 weeks from now, Tim can say how he's carrying the flag for Drew Pomeranz should be the closer.
Yeah.
Throwing 90, 94 right down the middle, but he just pumps in the strike zone. But
Nasty buck curve. Yep.
yeah, we will take it. But hopefully by that time too, Cubs are another 5 games up in the division, but we can't guarantee it. But until next time, boots come in pairs. Take it easy, guys.
Peace.